Well, we have Larry Melton. Larry Melton works for GSA, which is the General Services Administration, and they actually run this building. I've been trying to get him to get the in-building Wi-Fi and cellular service better here, but he didn't get a chance to do that before he recently retired, but I know it was on his list.
Yeah,
I told you I was going to give you a hard time.
Worked, past tense. Thanks for having me. Hit the slide for me. I'm going to bring this up a notch, all the way up to the asset level or the real estate level on what's going on in the industry, because I think we've heard two examples of mobility. Obviously, we've talked about it quite a bit in the last year and a half. I know Tom and I have. And we haven't even, you talk about an untapped resource and where the future is going for mobility as it relates to real estate and the delivery of services. I wanted to share with you a little bit of kind of where the world of smart buildings and what we call smart people and the end user experience is changing. And just by just sheer numbers, looking at, GSA was here and Phil Clokas was here, my former colleague at GSA, who is a huge supporter of our smart buildings program. And Phil didn't get into this, but if you look at the portfolio of GSA, about 360 million square feet, which represents about 10 to 11% of the federal inventory. That means there's another 89 to 90% of federal space out there, totaling about 350 billion, that's with a B, square feet of space out there. The reality is, and it's scary to say that in 2008, when smart buildings was as then, oh wow, that's new and innovative, and today it seems like folks have declared victory that, oh well, everything's a smart building today. The reality is there's only one smart building, and it's not even done in Washington, D.C., for that matter across the United States, and that's GSA's 1800F building. By most people's feedback, that's probably going to be one of the smartest buildings in the U.S. With multiple million data points and data coming out of it. Obviously, the wireless connectivity capability and max flexible mobility, they've gone from about, I think it was around 500 to 600 people originally assigned to the building, now going to have 6,000 some people assigned to the building, maximizing utilization of that building. And you're going to see that change and evolution in the entire real estate market, and that's where most people are going because they see the opportunity cost and the cost of operating expenses going up, and they need to be sustained, especially at a time when you see budgets being tighter. So the scary part here is that with only one, let's just say one smart building out there, we're talking about mobile connectivity. We haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg or the start of mobile connectivity for the end users and operators for the commercial real estate side. That is just a discussion happening right now. Now, are buildings getting smart? Yes, but are we short of declaring victory? Very much so. So what I'd like to say is that smart buildings is good. Smarter mobility and application development is critical, but those people using it can make or break the situation and obviously get you the return on investment or not. So what I'd like to focus on really is about connecting the real estate, and that's where we're taking it to the next level of, it's not just smart buildings, it's not just smart people with great mobility and mobile apps, but changing that environment to get that return on investment. When you talk about the people side, and I'll wrap up with this parting thought, is the original business case around smart buildings was that we'd invest 86 cents per square foot with about a 52 cent per square foot payback. That 52 cents, about 8 to 9 cents of it was energy savings, and the other 42, 43 cents was direct labor associated with it. So the need for mobility to change the way operators are using mobile devices, operating millions of dollars worth of equipment, is so ready for the launch. It's just, I'm excited to see where it's going. So this is just the beginning. I think I'd love to see 3 years from now where this conversation will be sitting on this stage and we'll be talking about maybe what you said, Jason, is, well, we did it. So I would look forward to say we did it.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. I mean, what are some of the, well, one little comment on what you said. I think that a lot of the folks here are in application development. I think ubiquitous wireless connectivity is one of these big issues, especially if you're going to go to the federal market, that need to be addressed. I know the VA is one of these organizations. They got some of the Obama stimulus money, and they're outfitting all their buildings with all their campuses with wireless connectivity. It's VA hospitals. Some of these are bomb shelter type edifices, for lack of a better word. They're historical buildings. a lot of your buildings in your portfolio, and Larry managed 8,000 buildings. A lot of them are old, and especially like the VA, they have steel on inside the walls, and to get ubiquitous wireless connectivity, that's like a $200 million project. So if you're going to do healthcare inside these hospitals, you've got to have that infrastructure in place. You're not going to be able to use in-building cellular and that type of thing. So I think that's something that we see in the federal government, and Larry heads this committee with us, that's going to be a big challenge. Like for DHS, they don't have ubiquitous wireless connectivity except in a few buildings, and they have 6,000 sites. United States Postal Service has 38,000 locations. I mean, they get cut a little bit here and there, but it's still 38,000. So I think in your design and what you're doing is you have to kind of assume there's not going to be wireless connectivity everywhere. And one more question for you, Larry. What do you think the biggest challenges going forward are? Culture, money? Yeah,
well, yeah, you know, initially I think most people said, well, I can't make my building smart. I can't connect my real estate because it costs too much money. The reality is you can't afford not to. And that's, I mean, if you look at your budgets are getting tighter. Your operating expenses are, every single penny is being looked at. You have got to invest in an enterprise strategy to connect your buildings on a global scale, whether it's mobility or smart buildings. I think the biggest obstacle going forward, and I said it 3 years ago then, I think connecting the buildings was a piece of cake and everyone thought that was hard. I think the security aspect of it was a bump in the road for a lot of people, but the reality is the people behavior change management piece and the use of these mobile apps to make sure that people are doing something with that data that's coming out and changing that behavior with the mobile device is going to make or break the efficient use of those mobile devices and getting their true ROI that we've talked about.
Right, right. Okay, we're going to open up to questions in the audience. We have, and what's your name again? I'll just put the mic up. I want to see if it works.
Alyssa.
Okay. Anybody brave enough to ask the first question?
I've already talked into the microphone, so someone else's turn.
All right, come on. Anybody have any questions about federal public sector or state public sector, excuse me? All right, well, I'm going to ask you.
What one?
We have one
back
back
here.
here.
Okay.
We have a winner.